Okay, so this is the Datawrapper website. I'll share the links so that you can go to it in a moment when we start the exercises. So I'll just quickly scroll down. There's lots of visualizations that you can use Datawrapper for. Today we're just looking at charts, but we do look at the mapping in the geo mapping training that we run, and there's also responsive data tables that you can use it for too. So under product, I'm just going to go into charts and then scroll down and just show you there's a huge range of chart types too, and I'll show you where you kind of select what chart you want to use. In the academy, there's also lots of explanation about what charts are best for what data. So the first thing I'm going to do is build your own chart. So I think when I sent the pre-session email out, I explained that you can just you can use Datawrapper for free. There are paid for versions, but for everything that you'll need, you won't need to upgrade to the paid versions, but you can use it without signing up. So some of you might have created an account. Don't worry if you haven't. I do have an account, and it just means that it saves past charts or maps that I've created, and I can go back to edit them. But equally, you can just create a chart without even signing up for an account. So that's where it's free and no sign up is required. So I'm going to click on build your own chart, and just to kind of talk you through the screen a little bit, basically it leads you through the steps that you need to create it. So although I'm demoing it now and you've got some step-by-step guides, even if you just came to it on your own, I think you'd kind of work your way through. So at the top, there are 4 stages: upload your data, check the data and describe it if you need to, visualize it, and then publish or embed. If I scroll down a little bit, there are these proceed buttons on every page. So essentially you're kind of following the instruction on that page and then clicking proceed, or, you know, as you get a bit more familiar, you could use these top options to jump between the tabs. So the first thing in upload your data, you can see there is an option just to paste. So I can copy and paste data from a table. I could upload, I could connect to a Google Sheet or link to another external data set. So it kind of depends where your data is. So I'm just going to Alt Tab and come to my Excel sheet that I've got open already. I need to highlight the data in the spreadsheet, making sure I've got these header rows as well. And I'm just going to Control C to copy. You could right click, and then I'm going to come back to Datawrapper, and then I just Control V to paste in, and I can just see the year and the total number of sessions. So if anybody's been in our Excel training, we're using the same data set. So it's the scenario is an organization that runs music mentor programs, and so this is total number of sessions across 4 years of delivery. So I can now click proceed. There we go. So this is the check and describe section. So essentially it's just splitting out, and it's picked up that that first row is a header row. If you don't have a header row and you've forgotten to paste that, you can add it back in here. I can just have a look that the data it's kind of formatted it in the right way. In one of your exercises, when you go to visualize it, the pie chart won't look quite right, and it's because you need to come back and kind of swap the rows and columns so that Datawrapper understands the data better in terms of visualizing what you're looking for. But everything else that we'll do today, it's when you paste the data in, it should work fine. At the bottom left, there's a language, so it's worth just changing that to English GB. And then I'm going to proceed. So I noticed a change with Datawrapper when I came back to have a quick look before running this session. At this stage, you used to choose the chart type. for some reason it jumps to this refine tab here, and it's picked out a line which doesn't really work so well for the data that I want to visualize. So I come back to chart type. So just look out if it's created a automated chart which isn't what you want. Come back to chart type and then select from here. So I'm going to choose a column chart and it will just recreate it for me. So here it's visualized that data in a chart. You can click anywhere on the chart. I could click and insert the title now, but I'm going to show you where you can add that a little bit later as well. So again, there are some options in terms of sizing. I wouldn't worry about any of that. You can change that at the end as well. And we'll have a look at the colorblind check once we've made some changes to the color. So by default, it will always use this blue. So now I click proceed and it's taken me to the next refine tab. And this is where you can just run down the options on the left-hand side and make any changes. So you'll see that there's lots of toggle on and toggle off options. And you can just kind of work your way down. And in the exercises, I'm getting you to have a go with a number of these options. So we could take the grid lines off here. Sorry, that's gone back on. You can change the number format. So it depends on one of your exercises. I've asked you to have a look for visualizing the percentage rather than the actual figures. If I scroll down again, here are some other options for this horizontal axis, and here's some appearance options that you've got. So essentially you can choose a base color, and for this column chart, all of the columns are the same. It's going to depend on what data you're displaying. So imagine for a pie chart, obviously there will be a number of colors. So you can choose your base color and either go with one of the options here, or you can just select anywhere on one of these kind of scales, or you can add in actually this is a hex color code, so where you've got the hash and then 6 digits and letters after it. You might have brand colors, for example, so you want the chart to match visually. You can add that in and completely customize it. So that's the kind of column color here. If we go into customize colors, this is where we could choose to have a different color per bar. And obviously you can see how that might come into its own for a pie chart. So you just click on the column label, and then there's a drop down arrow here, and again you can select a color. So I could go in and choose the colors for each of these columns, for example. Quickly do that. There are other things that you can change. So what I'd suggest is you just have a little bit of a play once we get onto the practicals. So this is the space between the columns. You can make that bigger. At the moment, you'll notice that the values only come on when I hover over the chart. So you've got an option to have those numbers always showing. So that's what you need to click on if you're going to download this as a PNG and drop it into a report, as opposed to embedding it on your website. So yeah, have a play and have a look at the different options. I'll just quickly show the colorblind check here, and I think I'm suggesting you have a look at it when you create a pie chart a little bit later. But essentially this just shows you what there's a number, I didn't realize how many different kinds of colorblindness there is, but for example I can just hover over the red green, how that person will see those colors. And obviously in this column chart it's not so critical because we've got the years here and it's quite clear, but in a pie chart you can imagine if the contrast isn't different enough and you've got a key where you're referencing the color to the category or the year in this case, then you really want to make sure that there's enough difference for that to be picked out. So you can have a play kind of changing the look and feel there. And then, as I said, I can click on proceed to move on to the next section, which is this annotate tab. So I can actually type in my title here. So number of sessions per year. You can add a description. You can add some notes. So I can say I think I'm going to get you to have a go adding something here. The program only ran for 4 months in 2020. I've added a note, and you can see it's now displaying at the bottom of the chart there. You can add a data source. So I'll just put Music Mentors, but it might be that you're visualizing some data from the ONS or something like that. And you can link to that data source as well. You can add who it's by. There's an alternative description for screen readers. So again, if you're putting this in a report or on the website, you can describe the chart so that somebody reading your document or visiting your web page has it will be read out a kind of description of what the chart shows. There's an option to highlight an element as well, and I'm asking you to have a go in one of the exercises with this. So it might be that maybe not so relevant in this very simple example, but I could highlight 2019 as the year so that you can visualize your data and then really pick out a particular element of it. So lots that you can do. Click proceed, and then again, we can make some changes. This theme seems to be new. I haven't had a chance to play around with it. But this is where if you want to download the image, if you want to enable other people to download the image, you can click that on or off. If you want people to be able to download the data, you can toggle that on or off. So this is the information that's showing in the footer. For the free version, you're always going to have created with Datawrapper. And then I can proceed. And then because I've got an account, I've got this option to publish now. I've also got an option to download as a PNG or to duplicate if I want to make a similar chart, but with maybe some different data, but all the other settings the same. So I could download that as a PNG. At the end, I'll come back and show you, if I just say show publish now, it gives me a link. So I could share a link to this chart, but also I've got an embed code. So this is how I could embed this on my website. And at the end, I'll just come back and show you how to do that. So essentially, those are the steps that you're going through, the tools guiding you. I'm going to stop recording and stop sharing and just explain the exercises. Okay, so if you've created an account, so I appreciate not all of you have, and it will look slightly different. I think if you haven't, you put in your email address and you get sent the embed code. Because I've got an account, when I come to this publish and embed page, I've made a change, so I'll just republish that. This is what it will look like. So I've got a link, so I could just share a link to somebody to have a look. And then there's an embed code here. So I can copy that onto my clipboard, and then I'll go to our website, which I should have queued up. Get rid of that toolbar. Okay, so this is just a kind of hidden page on our website where I've already had a go embedding something just so that you can see how it looks. So it brings all of the formatting that you've done on the chart, and it's embedded here. I'm already kind of queued up editing that page. So it's the same page. I'm just in the edit mode for our website. So you would go into your own website and go to edit page, and then you might be used to embedding other content, but essentially what you want to do is find the HTML option. So it will kind of switch your web page into HTML, and I can now just paste the embed code that I've taken from Datawrapper. I might just put in a paragraph break. Okay, so I've embedded the code, and I just need to update that. So I can just see there's another block essentially here. If I save and publish this page, that's the problem with queuing things up too much in advance. Let me see if I need to redo that. Oh no, it's still there. So save and publish again. And I can come back to the web page and just refresh that. And now we can see the other sheet. So it's very easy. It keeps all of that formatting. I'd ticked on get the data and download image, and I've kept on the kind of hover so that people can explore. Oh, Jenny, so there, yeah, if you're sharing this online, it doesn't show, but you could still hover and see that 4.8%, for example. So yeah, it's very easy to then share. So this will just be a static. So if I go back into Datawrapper and change any of those values, unless I republish, it's not going to automatically update, but there are some ways to do that dynamically if you're linking a Google Sheet directly into Datawrapper. So I'll just stop recording.